Dreams are great evidence that the brain and the mind are material and not some magic matter. We can see how thoughts come to mind that we clearly not decide to have. In waking life, information is sent to the mind and the rest of the brain and filtered through other parts of the brain, but it goes to whatever regions constitute the mind. In response to this information, which is transferred in the form of neural patterns, these bundles of neurons in the mind respond to this information just like any machine. And the neurons throughout the brain are arranged in a manner that certain patterns transfer through much faster than others. The pattern for "scary monster thing, dead ahead" transfers very fast because of however the neurons are organized. It's an incredible machine and it's all predetermined because the brain is made up of atoms. It behaves as deterministically as an extremely complex arrangement of atoms. So, if one wants to make a case that our actions are not predetermined, it will not be a matter specific to the brain. Consciousness, this I, is not evidence for anything non-mechanistic. For all we know, rocks and electrical currents could have an I. But the brain is a part of an organ system, and the brain includes the gray matter, but also those medulla and pons things, and the nerves which go throughout the body. So the brain is spread throughout the body and most concentrated in the head. This explains the phantom limb phenomena. The brain cannot calculate itself. It can imagine super tiny particles and imagine super tiny particles forming a larger structure, and then it can imagine a series of these discrete structures interacting. It can even imagine it's not discrete structures, but really a series of smaller particles interacting. But it cannot calculate all of those particles, all of those interactions. That is just because you understand how atoms interact, then molecules, then cells, etc. Doesn't mean you can direct process at the cellular level in any meaningful sense. For example, take a mechanical pencil. If you open up the mechanical pencil, you will see a spring, some things that go in and out. However, that stuff works. I can't calculate them, so I just assume mechanical pencils have free will. But that's not the case, is it? You'll rather say, oh, there's the eraser. Some eraser crude, some of the eraser comes off in the slot, or the plastic has some stuff on it. You won't say atom 1, atom 2, atom 3, atom 4, which would itself be modeling the interaction of particles as atoms, but I digress. And so my theory is that consciousness is the brain modeling itself. That the you is just a model of the brain, and you react to stimuli, but your reactions are literally mind-bogglingly complicated. Nobody can determine how you will react to any stimuli, sometimes not even you can. And it appears as if you're making decisions independent of the world. Unlike a car engine, which is obviously deterministic. And just because you can't calculate the car engine or know how it works, doesn't mean you ascribe it free will. You've seen diagrams and you know that the combustion of gasoline is deterministic, and even insects have brains that are so simple that their deterministic nature is obvious. Even if you cannot calculate what an ant will do 1 second to the next, after analyzing its behavior, you will see enough patterns form to know it is deterministic. But as you get more complicated machines, the calculations become too much and free will is assumed. I know it's not true, but I functionally assume free will when dealing with other humans, even though humans are to varying degrees also predictable. This predictability or regularity is just an artifact of causal determinism. I can say Bill will probably act this way based on my incomplete understanding of Bill. Now, I'm not certain that determinism is true, but I'm certain that humans behave as deterministically as atoms. I know there's lots of stuff coming forward about how time may not be linear and atoms may behave non-deterministically, but they behave deterministically enough to where I see the world as a complex machine. Then I assume free will in others makes perfect sense because consciousness, this I, is a result of the brain not being able to calculate itself, and assuming free will of itself.